Thanks for a wonderful session organized by all the MSRIT gang. Fantastic to be here. So when I was talking to the organizers, I was told that we should be talking something to the audience. And when I looked at, as Atul said, the final users are going to be a lot of students. I might as well thought, I'll share some of the experience that I went through in my own career when I was a student and how I went through and how I'm standing here. I thought I'll just take you through some of the experience that I went through. So, you see copy star here? Okay, now what do you see? I'm sure most of the guys will be looking at the girls, right? Yeah. So, the topic that I'm going to talk about is just between copyright and copyleft. How many heard about copyright? Quite a lot. Copyleft? Wow, interesting. Atul's both hands. Interesting. So when I was a kid like you, I also had a lot of aspiration. Started doing a lot of work and ended up starting a couple of companies. And one of the company we did a lot of work. The company owned the copyright. What does it mean? That means you are out of the company and you don't own any of the work that you did. Did you get that right? Yep. And in 2007 and 2008, the company flunked big time. Right? That basically means I came out of the company with zero code that I wrote, empty-handed in my pocket, and came straight to the road with zero IP on my head. Now what do I do? Okay, so I went to the other extreme. What's the other extreme? It's the copyleft, where I thought, let me do something completely in the public domain. Ended up doing a couple of open source projects. And did I earn money? It may not be as much. Right? So in the initial phase of career, worked in copyright world, built a lot of patents, company flunked, zero money. Or did not make any credible impact in the society. Came out, started doing something in the public domain, did a lot of things, quite a lot of interesting things, but not being ended up very satisfying. This made me actually step back and think, right? Couple of things. So what are the couple of things? That's what I'm going to share in the next couple of slides. There we go. So the first thing that I started pondering about is like, how impactful is your work? Is your work social? Is it going to impact the people around you, the world around you, when you live as well as when you leave? Two interesting points. It's one of the initial copyleft statements, all wrong results. This seems to be not very clear. So we studied some patterns here. In what happens in a copyright versus copyleft world, right? In the copyright world, what happens? The initial popularity is so high because of the marketing and all the other gimmicks around it. The shelf life is pretty short and out of print very quickly. What happens in the copyleft world? It takes a little while, but over a period of time, it gradually climbs up. Get that right? Two differences between copyright and copyleft? Interesting. Okay. And this doesn't exist just not in software. Right? It exists in pretty much all the music industry. If you look at Shekhar Kapoor's statement, in one of the music industry, he is asking for, can I create copyleft music? Right? People who play songs, record songs in one of the music industry, they have to pay royalty to people who create the directors, they need to pay the royalty, or the company, the record label, they need to pay the royalty. So they exist in pretty much all the industries. Just one example in the music industry too. Now coming back to the copyleft, there are quite a lot of licenses. How many heard about GPL? Quite a lot. MPL, wow, lovely. Apache, right? Now the interesting part that I went through was when I started doing copyleft, I realized none of these licenses can talk to each other. Right? These are all copyleft licenses. None of these can talk to each other. So there is an enough amount of challenges in each one of these licenses. What does GPL say? You take the code but give it back to me. You change whatever change you make, you give it back to me. What does MPL say? You can take the code, whatever written, make your changes and make it yours. What does Apache license say? You do whatever you want. I really don't care about it. Right? What does BSD say? Do whatever you want. Just please give me the credit. Right? Now you know what? The interesting thing is the open source world is struggling to create something called harmony license, where all these licenses can talk to each other. Right? Did you see the confusion? On one side it's a copyright and one side is a copyleft. And within the copyleft there is enough chaos and confusions not being able to coexist efficiently. Can I request the audience just stand up for a minute? Just want to do one exercise. Left brain and right brain, right? Okay. Now, with your left leg, just see if you can make some small circles. Small circles. Okay? With your right hand, try drawing number 6. All good? Let's do it together. One circle on the left and draw 6. Circle on the left and draw 6. Circle on the left and draw 6. Possible? Anybody could draw both together comfortably? 6 and circle? It's not bad. Exceptions always there. So whenever there was confusion, like a student, I started off copyright, copyleft, and became completely confused of what is right. What do I get towards? That's when I kind of got into a little bit of balancing. Right? So the picture explain it well. Can you guess which goddess is that? And this one. What do you think in the 2 circles marked here? For Lakshmi, it's about give and take, right? Right? You got to equally take from the society and give it back. Got it? What is Saraswati doing there? There is a musical instrument that shows the playfulness of life. Your work has to be important, but it has to be equally playful, right? She also does something in the mala. It also has to be in harmony with yourself. Make sense? Now, is it enough? There we go. So we have one more element that's coming in, which is the Shakti. What is the Shakti? The ability to change and challenge and to stay with your thoughts and ability to make a difference, real difference, right? When you started off doing all these things, nobody will pat on your back. Especially in a copyleft world, you don't get a pat on your back from a customer saying you've done a fantastic job. Right? You got to stay afloat and ready to accept the change. So 3 important elements. You need to be playful, you need to learn, you need the ability to give back to the society, learn from the society, as well as be a change maker. Right? 3 elements. Just wanted to note a very simple example which I was really inspired with. So, have you heard of proxy? I don't know how many in software here, called Squid Proxy. Here somewhere. Okay, it's one of the most commonly used software proxies, which I'm sure in one of your organizations or colleges would use. So somebody in the open source world actually wrote a plugin for a proxy called Dance Guide. You know how he did it? He was just a curious kid like all of us. One day he realized that he needs to learn something. He started doing it. How did he start doing it? He picked up a book, started reading about it, started doing the basic code, started doing it in C. Then he realized the code is a little messy, let me make it a little smarter. He learned C++ and algorithms and things like that. And he made a super duper proxy called Dance Guardian, and he floated his own company over a period of time. Right? So what did he do differently? 1, he made use of the open ecosystem so that you don't reinvent the wheel, number 1. He figured out a pain point the end user is having, which is a proxy server, right? And a relevant plugin which makes sense for the proxy server. And number 3, he kept evolving. Got it? Cool. So this is one of the interesting topic that I had with one of my friends last week. So there are 2 ways, right? The copyright world, what happens? You take patents, you take your own credits, you have IPs and things like that. You make your money by just making one product, sell the licenses, blah blah blah, make enough money out of it. In the fag end of life, if you're lucky like Bill Gates, you end up doing a lot of charity. Right? What if you're not one of Bill Gates? What if you just die for no reason? So here is an opportunity to look back and think whether you want to give charity after making a lot of money, or you want to just use the open ecosystem and live the life of charity. Right? Not just giving money is charity, right? Making a difference to the world around you is also charity. So what are the ingredients for it? So what am I talking about? So I talked about two different things, right? Copyright, copyleft. Here is what I personally feel would be worth exploring. Right? It is not about being copyright, it's not about being copyleft. Right? It's about being the right middle path, which I call it copy middle. And what are the ingredients for that? The morality, the openness, the money, and the end product that you're building. In some cases, software, for example. Right? And where is the sweet spot? Where is the copy middle existing? The copy middle exists right here. So you have money as one circle, openness as one circle, the software or the product as one circle, and the morality as another circle. You can choose to be in any circle, but what's the sweet spot? This seems to be a sweet spot that I have figured out where you need to be in. Yeah, that's how Chetan forgets making a statement. Right? How do we not be too serious, but be more sincere? Got a glimpse of what is copy middle? That's about it. Thanks a lot.